the end.
Creative Assembly is the team best known for the Total War series of real-time strategy games on PC. However, real-time strategy games don't typically translate well to consoles, as they soon found out when they wanted to bring the Total War series to consoles. So how do you take a game like Rome Total War and put it on consoles? The short answer? You don't. The long answer? You make a completely different game, specifically the hack-and-slash variety. And why not throw in fighting amongst the Greek gods just to really amp it up? Which brings us to today's game, Spartan Total Warrior, released on the PS2, GameCube, and Xbox on October 25th, 2005 in North America, and October 7th, 2005 in Europe. The story has you play as a Spartan soldier known only as the Spartan, an orphan raised to be an exceptional soldier. As the king gets his troops, the Spartan hears the voice of Ares, the god of war. Ares then makes him a deal. He will aid the Spartan in defeating the Romans and reveal his true identity in return for the Spartan dishing out an unspecified revenge. This sort of fantasy-like ordeal is a major departure from the historically accurate scenarios of Total War, and it's even anachronistic at times. The plot is simple, but very outlandish because of this. Though the game has an outlandish plot, surely the gameplay can still be fun, right? Kind of. The main levels in the game have you go from point A to point B. You'll start with one objective to clear it, and then another objective will pop up for you to do. You'll typically have several of them per level. You'll also gain tokens that you can use to level up your character's health, power, and magic. The overall flow doesn't change, but the length of most of the levels can. More on that later. The main character has two attack types, simple to take on one enemy, and radial to take on multiple enemies. Also, you can modify the attack for some interesting kills, like you can use the shield for a radial attack, which is kinda cool. You start the game with just a sword and shield, but you'll gain more weapons as you defeat bosses. You can also use magic known as Power of the Gods. When you have a full bar, you can use either single or radial magic attacks. Specific magic attacks are tied to specific weapons. You can also use a bow and arrow for enemies you can't reach. The graphics are alright, while the main character models look fine up close, but look worse of wear when caught in a sea of other characters in the actual gameplay. It's nothing particularly bad, but for a near end-of-generation title, I was hoping for something a little bit better. Still, one thing I will give praise to is how many characters are on a screen at a given time. The Total War series has always been known for these grand epic battles with over 10,000 characters on screen at a time. And even though this game doesn't come anywhere close to that, for what Creative Assembly were able to do on consoles, it doesn't look too bad. But maybe they got a bit too carried away with how many could appear at a time. While going through levels, at times I noticed how enemies would respawn. This wouldn't normally be an issue, but with how many enemies can be dealt with at a time, the respawning can become really annoying when you're sometimes trying to figure out where to go, as some points aren't obviously clear, and you have a swarming group of enemies attacking you. It can become too overwhelming to deal with. This also wouldn't be an issue if not for the game's main problem. Remember when I said the length of the levels tend to change? Well, it doesn't change for the better. While earlier levels aren't too long, some of them from a little past the earlier points to the end of the game can go on for too long, up to 20-30 minutes at a time. And since the actual gameplay itself doesn't change that much, it can feel like the levels are very draining as they go on for too long. Compared to, say, Shadow of Rome, which is more exciting gameplay variety and less draining levels, while this game is more simple and tiring. Though, the controls do work fine. Inputs work as they should, and doesn't stray too far from the usual action game ordeal. The sound itself is also fine. Weapons have the impacting sounds that they should, and the music works for the setting the game is in. Though the voice acting, it feels campier than usual. Given the outlandish plot of the game, you can tell the voice actors were having a bit more fun than usual, but it just adds to the outlandishness of the game. You can also unlock behind the scenes stuff for the game by picking up collectibles throughout levels, and you'll even unlock arenas for challenge mode, which puts you against endless swarms of enemies. Spartan Total Warrior is a good game, but it doesn't really strive to be great. While the graphics, controls, sound, and even gameplay are fine, the tiring level design really prevents this game from being great. For a while, it can be fun to slay large amounts of enemy, but that only goes so far when that's all you do throughout the game. The constant spawning also doesn't help matters either. However, in terms of action games, there's still some fun to be had with it, and it's not terribly expensive to get. So if you're looking for a simple action game that, despite the tiring nature of it, won't take too long to get through, I argue you could do worse. I give Spartan Total Warrior a 3 out of 5.
Wait a second, a new opponent has interrupted the tournament.
I know what you're thinking. A video on MLPFIM in 2020 and on a damn ship in it? So, in an effort to understand why I like what I like, help myself, and possibly others, I thought I would take my thoughts and make a video with them. Everything was going fine, and then they showed up. The Student 6. Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, click the big red button below to subscribe. Check out the other links in the description for more cool stuff, and check out the playlist on screen for more content. See you in the next video.